Alright, what is going on, everybody? It is Gis, and I'm here with the Budget Delve Guide. And I know a lot of you are looking at this and being like, budget? That's not budget, that's 60 mil. It is. And that's budget, man. That's what I recommend you go into this boss with. If you don't have Void, you can use D'Hide if you want, but Void is really, 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 really good on the car phase. Like, really good. If you have Masori's also, like, fine. It's more consistent, I believe, on the earlier delves, and then a little bit worse on car phase, and then again, when he's out of car phase, it'll be a little bit more consistent again, because it gives you a little bit extra accuracy that Void doesn't have. However, if you are using a Scorching Bow, Void is pretty much always better. So if you don't have it, go get it. It's really worth it if you want to grind this boss. Next disclaimer. This is hard. This is a hard boss. This will test your mechanical skills to a degree that some of you might have not experienced, but that's what makes it fun. So I do implore you to at least give it some attempts. The death fees in this setup are 17k and 7k if you protect item. So your choice if you want to leave protect item on, but otherwise you are looking at a 17k death cost. Not that big of a deal. So let's go over the rest of the gear. Anguish, pretty much a necessity. Scorching Bow, pretty much a necessity. Lightbearer, pretty much a necessity. Boots, I mean, if you have anything better than this, go ahead and throw it on. And of course, if you have Quiver, you can throw it on. But I do not think Quiver is a max hit. You can gearscape it if you want to. But I think with and without Quiver, I was still hitting a 57. However, you will get a little bit more accuracy with the Quiver, but I did do the budget setup kill in the Assembler. So, what are we looking at in our inventory? What do we have to do for this boss? We need Demon Bane. We absolutely have to have Demon Bane. All three styles, because if we do not have Demon Bane for all three styles, the grub phases of the boss will be a little bit more difficult. It's not impossible. You can still deal damage to the grubs without Demon Bane. You just have to do damage twice. So you're going to be losing a little bit of DPS on the boss, and you might just get into some weird situations where shooting the grub twice puts you in a weird, like, tick delay, and you, like, really needed to not shoot the grub the second time so you could move or flick your prayer or whatever, right? So ideally, Demon Bane for all three styles. We can accomplish this in quite a few ways. So I don't know, I'm going to mention this, I don't know why you would ever do this, but if you don't have a Scorching Bow and you're still wanting to try this, there is something called Holy Water, so you can deal ranged Demon Bane damage to the grubs. I don't know why you would do this without a Scorching Bow, unless you just want the challenge. If you do, go for it. You can use Holy Water for the grubs, but otherwise, Scorching Bow covers it for range. Dark Light, Arc Light, Silver Light, Burning Claws, and Ember Light will all cover it for melee. We bring the Dark Light to keep our death costs down, and if you have an Ember Light and you're like, bro, I don't want to have to, like, dismantle my Ember Light, you don't have to. If you go over to Sir Pryzen in Varrock Castle, you can drop your Ember Light right there and just say, hey man, I lost my Silver Light, and he'll just plop you a Dark Light back. Good to go. For Demon Bane, bring any staff that can auto-cast it. Skull Scepter if you would like. I just bring an Aram Staff. I mean, maybe you could reduce your death cost by like another 1,000 GP or something if you want to bring your Skull Scepter or Slayer Staff or whatever. Go for it. But anything that can cast Demon Bane, and the Demon Bane spell you will be casting because you're bringing Death Charge and Thrall Runes, will be this level 62 Superior Demon Bane. And the reason you do that is because just in case you brew, you don't want your stats to go so low. Like, let's say we just start drinking brew, right? We're chugging, we're chugging, we're chugging, we're chugging, we're chugging. Oh my god, we had to chug, we had to chug. I can no longer cast my Dark Demon Bane, my level 82, right? Because I'm just brewed down to 69 magic, but I can still cast the little one. So make sure you have it auto-cast to the smaller one, because it doesn't matter what tier you use, it just matters that it's Demon Bane. And I believe that covers everything for Demon Bane. So what are the other two things? We're using the Crystal Halberd for the melee punish. You can bring a Noxious Halberd if you would like. You can bring a Scythe if you have one. You can bring, like, I think I've seen people using Burning Claws for a melee punish. I'm not entirely sure how that one works, but if you want to give it a shot, go ahead. Dual Mokhaiotls, dual Mokhaiotls. You can use those if you would like. And then anything beyond that, I mean, I wouldn't really consider it. But I think if you're doing Doom, you should have a Crystal Halberd, and you'll be good to go. This is going to be your best friend for melee punish. And with the method that we're doing, it's pretty much required that you have a halberd of some sort. Maybe Dragon Halberd would work, I have no idea. You can give it a shot again if you would like, but we're rocking with the Crystal Halberd. And the way that the melee punish works is it completely rolls off of your melee strength in multiples of 5. So this extra 3 melee strength that I have doesn't matter, but it's fine. All the echo hits will roll off of is this melee strength number. Your strength level doesn't matter. You know, being potted, praying, none of that matters for the echo portion of the hit. For the initial hit, of course, it will matter, but we're bringing full range gear. We're not going to hit that hard. Like, who cares? It's not worth the slot for a melee punish that's going to happen, 10 times in a run, probably. It happens a lot in the early caves, but, like, whatever. The early caves are fine. It's not a big deal for that. That's that. For the blowpipe, the reason we're bringing this is for car phase, because during car phase, we have 100% accuracy. We want to make sure we are utilizing that duration of time as best as we possibly can, especially in a budget setup, because if we don't, we're going to have to deal with that dreaded orb phase after car phase, which I know is what is killing a lot of you, and I'm hopefully going to simplify that section for you, because in a budget setup, it is damn near inevitable that you are going to have to do orb phase pretty much the whole time. Like, your DPS is going to be a little bit low with the Scorching Bow. It just is. So get used to orb phases in the early waves. You're going to have to do it later on. The best rule of thumb is to just make that line as far as you possibly can. Just make it long, baby. Make it long and control walk. You really want to control walk in the orb if you can manage it. It's a lot. It's going to be hard. You're going to die, but you're going to learn. And it only costs you whatever supplies you use. And then, of course, that 17k death fee, or 7k if you protect item. Completely up to you. Doesn't use that much prayer, and we're going to end with plenty of restore, I promise you, with the setup. For the potions, Divine Ranging Potion and the normal Ranging Potions, use these at your own discretion. If you are in the club of you want to use the Divines in the early waves to make sure you're getting through them fast, go for it. If you want to use it in the later waves to just make sure your DPS has permanent uptime, which is what I do, I recommend doing that. So from 6 to 8, you'll be using the Divine, and then from 1 to 5, you'll be using the regular Ranging Potions. Because, in that car phase, you really want to maximize your DPS uptime. You do not want to be hitting any less than your maximum. You want to keep that average hit really high so we can try and skip those orb phases. Any form of anti-venom, you can bring a stack of Araxite Venom Sacks if you want. You can bring an Ascending Anti-Venom like I do. You can bring just normal anti-venom potions, whatever. It's completely fine, completely up to you. You can bring Sand Fuse instead of Super Restores if you would like as well, if you are rolling in the dough. But I'm trying to keep it as budget as possible. So Super Restores, bring about 7. Brews, bring 5, and bring 2 combo eats. Because if you're not doing deep delves, the reason you're going to die is because you actually can't heal fast enough. Like, sometimes you'll be in Orb Phase, and maybe you started it a little bit too late or a little bit too early, and you're taking a shockwave after you just messed up a flick, and you're at like 30 HP. You get hit for a 28, and now you're at 2. And the reason you die is because this is only going to heal you 16, and he's just going to shockwave you again for 20. But if you combo eat, you'll be over the threshold where a shockwave will one-shot you. So use the combo eats in an emergency, and use brews in between the delves to get yourself to above max HP again, if you need to. But that'll be at your discretion with another mechanic that I'll talk about when we get into the mechanics of the fight. Last couple things about the inventory. We have a rune pouch with Death Rune, Fire Rune, Aether Rune, and Blood Rune. I need to get more Aether Runes. Go ahead and spot these. These are worth it. I really think these are worth it. If you can manage to spot these, even like 1,000 of them would be totally fine. Go ahead and run this. Make sure you bring your Book of the Dead, because you're going to be thralling for 1 through 5, pretty much. You're going to be thralling. And then 6 to 8 in car phase only you will be thralling with my method, because I'm a push your DPS if you just want to do 1 through 8, get your 8 clear, and then be done with it, because you're in a budget setup. We want to make sure we can cast Death Charge and our Thrall with our book. And the last thing is a teleport here. You can use Waystones if you want, but those are a little bit expensive. But you will be teleporting to Kastori with your Pennant of the Eights. If you do not have a Pennant of the Eights, what you'll be doing is going to the Quetzal over in Varlamore, Civitas, Illifortis. You can go Civitas teleport, go to the bird, and then bird over to the Talatli Rainforest over here, and then run all the way over here to the Dew. It's a trek. I highly recommend going to get your Pennant of the Eights from Moxie. Actually a pretty decent boss if you haven't checked it out. And you get the Frozen Tears to charge it up over there as well. And the last thing is just to teleport out, just to get up on out of there. I believe that is everything about the gear. We're camping a light bearer because we're going to be using Chally specs a lot. Dragon arrows P++, if you can spot them, are good. If you can't spot them, I get it. They're a little bit expensive, but again, that extra damage is really, really going to help you in the car phase to push this guy into the ground, because that's what we want to do. We want to get him dead, and we want to get him dead quick. So, let us begin talking about the endless mechanics of our dear friend, the Doom of Mokhaiotl. Okay, Doom of Mokhaiotl mechanics, Mocha mechanics. There is a lot. So the way I like to set up my guides is I give you the sort of audiobook version first, and I will put clips up of the mechanic that I am talking about. I try to keep it as orderly as possible, but as my brain reminds me of things, I will slot it in where I think it makes sense. I definitely had to make a little bit of a notepad here to make sure I cover everything that I possibly can before I give you the guided commentary run through. So, when you cross this ledge, you will be at Delve 1, and the Delve 1 mechanics are as follows. Standard attack, you're going to be responding in your prayer book. These are reactable prayers. You do not have to, like, preemptively pray against this boss. You can wait until the projectile is about to hit you, and then just one tick catch it if you want, or you can just camp the prayer once you recognize what it is you need to protect. So for Delve 1 and 2, he can only do magic or ranged standard attacks, and then 3+, he will add melee attacks into his standard attack. That just is what it is. That's pretty normal throughout the whole thing. And then as you scale up the Delve, he will be attacking faster. His attack speed will get a little bit faster. The projectiles will move a little bit faster as well, so you have less time to respond to the prayers. The first major mechanic will be the Boulder Throw. And the way you can deal with this is, what I really want you to focus on with this mechanic is recognize what color the boulder is. Really pay attention to that. Make sure you lock it in your brain so you can just completely stop thinking about it and move to a clear space before the shrapnel lands on you. Not a big deal if it does. You'll take, like, I don't know, 15 to 20 damage, something like that. It doesn't seem like it scales up, but I can't confirm that. Regardless, if you get hit by shrapnel, it's not that big of a deal, and could happen in your Delve 8 run, because the movement you have to do is a little bit strange. But the brown boulder is going to be a ranged starting projectile, and the blue boulder will be a mage starting projectile. And the way it works is the boulder can never shoot a melee projectile at you. However, as you progress into the next delves, what happens after the boulder will change, in the sense that a new projectile will be added at certain points, or just the speed in which you need to react to those projectiles will start getting narrower, so you have to be a little bit faster and a little more decisive. And I'm going to tell you that this is the thing that you need to deal with first and foremost. The boulder prayers are your priority. If you miss one by the later delves, the magic projectile can hit you for 65 damage. They will kill you. You need to make sure you get those right. And the way it works is in Delve 1, the boulder will fire one projectile of whatever boulder color that it was that you've registered. You just respond to it, you're good to go, you're back in the fight. Delve 2 and 3 will have 2 projectiles in the boulder, and the way it works now will be whatever projectile it starts at, it will then do the opposite. So if it's a brown range boulder, you'll protect range and then protect magic. And that's the way it's going to hit you every time. If it's a blue boulder, it'll be magic and then ranged. Then, when you get to Delve 4 and beyond, it will be 3 projectiles that alternate based on the first projectile. So brown boulder will then be range, mage, range, and the blue boulder will be mage, range, mage. Keep in mind, he does a standard attack at the end of this as well, so you'll have an additional projectile that you need to catch on a slightly longer delay. Unless you're in the very late caves, then it's pretty much right after one tick you'll have to do it. So sometimes, let's say he throws brown boulder and then does a melee attack after you just protected against the mage range mage flick. So you'll have to go mage range mage melee and catch all of that. Okay, that's Boulder. All you really need to do, respond to the prayers, get out of the way. For delves 1 through 5. Delve 6 through 8 will be putting those boulders that it spawns wherever you're standing. Wherever you're standing, when that boulder explodes, it'll put a rock on your tile. That's the main reason why you're moving out of the way. But we are going to utilize that to our advantage in the later waves. But for now, move out of the way, respond to the prayers, get back into business. That's Boulder. At wave 8, it will send 2 boulders at a time. And you will have a small window in between flicking your 3 prayers twice where you can input a pretty clean action that I think pretty much everybody should be able to do something in that window. There are times where you will need to go mage, range, mage, do any actions that you need to do, because you know as well, this boulder is always duplicated. It can never be a brown and then a blue boulder at wave 8. It will always be 2 of the same boulder. So make sure you, again, recognize your boulder and then pray accordingly. You have a small window in between the boulders breaking to input an action. And you're going to utilize that as well. Because you don't have to flick until the next alternate prayer is coming at you, if that makes sense. So the tick would be something like mage, range, mage, empty, mage, range, mage. So you have like a 3-tick window to do something with, which is 1.8 seconds to do something with. That is the boulder. Hopefully I've explained it to a decent degree. And once you get in there, it'll start clicking a little bit more. And hopefully those clips that I put up explain that decently well, because that is like the biggest thing that I really want you to sort of ingrain. Register what prayer you need to be doing so you can just forget about it. Like you know a brown boulder's coming. Okay, cool. I can go back and look at anything else that I need to look at. I do not need to look at that boulder anymore. It doesn't matter. This boulder also turns your prayer off, but I feel like you'll just kind of figure that out on your own. And to respond to the prayers, you have to turn your prayer back on anyway. So it's kind of like a nothing mechanic. I don't know why they do it, but whatever. I guess it's another indicator that a boulder is coming. Okay, that was long-winded. So, next thing that I'll talk about are the grubs. From waves 1 to 3, he'll randomly spawn grubs. You just have to kill them with an opposite style. They'll have one little overhead prayer over their head, and you just need to kill them. Delve 4+, they will actually be color-coded. And if you would like, you can install the, what is it called? Grub Demonic Larva Tracker. You can actually install this and set it to highlight the grubs for you. And the default settings for me were just completely fine. I'll show you, and you'll see in the clips in the live kill, that my grubs are just green, blue, and red. I don't see the protection prayers. I don't see anything. It's super clean, super nice. It'll get rid of them faster as well, so you don't have to think about them anymore. Like once you know that they're gone, you can go on and do your next thing and get back into business. What you need to know about these grubs: if you kill them while you are near Mocha, then you will be undamaged. So if you are adjacent to Mocha, say in shield phase, and you kill a grub next to you, it'll explode in a 3x3 square, deal damage to Mocha, or deal damage to the shield, whichever situation you're in, but not deal damage to you. Alternatively, when you're in the earlier waves, you'll wait for the grub to get to Mocha sometimes, then kill it, and it will do a little bit of damage to Mocha. You don't have to worry about this too much. I think a good rule of thumb when you're starting out is when you see the grubs, just get rid of them. As fast as, just out of sight, out of mind, get rid of those grubs. You don't have to think about it anymore. It's not going to take up any space of thought that you need to respond to other mechanics in this fight. So see a grub, kill a grub. Until shield phase, then you have to think about it a little, but we'll talk about that when we get there. Grubs are pretty simple. Just don't stand adjacent to them after you kill them. So when you run in for a melee attack, when you see your XP drop, click away. For shield phase, an easy way to do this is if you are milking the shield phase, which we'll get into later, then you can go ahead, click the grub, and then click Mocha right after you see your XP drop. Sometimes it can be a little finicky, but you'll get a feel for how you can sort of one-tick that, because you're going to need to, I think, on 6 to... Well, 6 and 7, kind of whatever, but on 8, you really want to learn how to milk the shield phase. It's not too complicated. You just do as little DPS to the shield as you can while you kill all the grubs until you get to 50 damage, which is like 15 or so grubs. I think that's it for them. Don't stand adjacent to them. If they're next to the boss, they'll deal damage to the boss. Shield phase or non-shield phase, they'll do some damage. And you just need to use Demon Bane and kill them. Demon Bane will kill them in one shot. If you are not using Demon Bane, it will take 2 shots of whatever you're doing. So, do with that information what you will, but if you're using Demon Bane, which you should be using Demon Bane, there's really no reason not to, they will get rid of themselves in one attack and you'll be good to go. Okay. The next quick mechanic, there's not really much to say about this one because there's nothing you can really do to control it, is the acid. In Delve 3 and further, you will get acid. So every successful hit that connects, not zeros, but every successful hit that does damage will trigger an acid splat. Random acid will go into the arena, and if you step on those tiles, you'll get damaged every tick, and you'll be venomed. That's why we bring the anti-venom. There's nothing you can really do about this other than clearing it with either melee punishes at the end of a kill, which is slightly hard to control, and you really don't worry about it unless you're super deep delving, because the acid on the floor will reset when you get to Delve 6 regardless. So you don't really need to worry about it too much. It's just kind of an RNG little BS thing that happens. It is what it is. If you want to try to min-max, you can use the Orb's center tile to clear some of the acid off of the ground. But again, I don't really bother doing that because I'm just not interested in that much min-maxing in this fight. Acid is covered. Melee punish. So, Doom will go into a protected phase. A yellow bar will start charging. He will have Protect Mage and Protect Range over his head. All you're going to do is click your Chally, click the spec bar, click the boss, click backwards. Because you don't want to stand next to the boss. If you stand next to the boss, you're going to get meleeed and it's going to hurt really bad. We don't like that. That's kind of it for melee punish. If you manage to do it at the end of the kill, he will give you some HP and prayer back, which you can stall if you would like to just get a little bit of extra HP and prayer, but completely unnecessary. Next thing we'll talk about is the shield phase, because it's sort of similar. He will do the same animation as if you need to melee punish him, except you now need to hit him with a Demon Bane weapon, so he doesn't charge his yellow bar all the way. In melee punish or shield phase, if you let that bar charge all the way, you're just gonna explode. So make sure you don't let that happen. Melee punish as soon as you can, and hit him with Demon Bane as soon as you can. An easy way to do this, if you are milking it, is to slap the shield with your Dark Light, because it won't do a lot of damage, and just kill the grubs as you see them. Otherwise, you just go to where the grubs are spawning, you chill out, and let the grubs approach the shield, and just kill them as they are adjacent or within Doom's hitbox, and you will get some chunky damage on the shield. They'll do 100 damage on top of whatever you're doing with your weapon, and you'll be done with the shield phase. And from wave 1 through 4, he doesn't do anything after the shield phase, so just make sure you step back after you know the shield phase is going to end. And then from 5 to 8, he will go into his car phase, which is the next thing we're going to talk about. Car phase is where you're going to get most of your damage, and I will input the car phase explanation after I'm done sort of explaining what it is. So he'll burrow into the ground, and you will now have 100% accuracy. He is going to target the location 4 squares behind your character. 4 tiles behind your character is where he's going to target. Wherever you're standing, he's roughly going to go behind your character 4 tiles. You can utilize this to send him into certain locations where there are less rocks, but still one that you can hide behind. And if you get hit by the car, it's going to do a little bit of damage, so make sure you get out of the way. You'll sort of get a feel for the timing of when he targets that square as you do more car phases. Quick interjection to explain one more thing about the car phase that I forget to mention. I don't know why. It's a lot, alright? So here's post-editing me. During car phase, in Delve 5, he will not send attacks at you. Delve 6 and beyond, every time he moves from starting location to his destination, he will throw at least 2 attacks at you. They can be ranged, mage, or melee. You just need to watch them and respond accordingly. If you drag him long, he will potentially do 3 attacks at you. So just keep that in the back of your mind. Make sure you respond to that as well. I have put a clip up there of what that looks like. Just needed to make sure I got that one across. Didn't want to forget that one. That's actually pretty important to know that that's going to happen to you. Catch those prayers while he's driving in 6 through 8. But for the most part, you just pull him, get out of the way, shoot his ass, do as much damage as possible. And once that ends, you will get the Orb Phase. The Orb Phase can happen in the earlier delves if the fight takes too long. So sometimes this will happen on like delve 4. You don't have a car phase on that delve, but it's just taking you so long to kill the boss that you'll get an Orb Phase. What you want to do on orbs is target the end point first. So you're going to shoot the chunk of volatile earth where you want to go, and then shoot the volatile earth where you want to start. So it's a little confusing, but end point first, starting point second is the rule. And the way the sheet or the orb targets things is really weird. It's like opposite of player movement. So what the orb is going to do is attempt to center itself on your targeted spot as quickly as possible. So if you start it on a diagonal, like if your arrow is a diagonal, it's going to move diagonally first. Whereas, let me show you this. So you know how a player will move diagonally last, right? So if I click this tile, my character is always going to go straight for as long as possible and then go diagonally. Watch. See? It'll always go diagonally last, but the way the orb works is in the reverse. So say I target an earth here and an earth here, the orb is going to do this, which is kind of annoying, but it forces you to manually path. But a cool thing is, if you know that it's going to do that, all you have to do is input your diagonal command, however many you need to do, and then you can just control click. Oops, sorry. So if you input your diagonal command and then control click, you will just follow the orb, and look, I can do whatever I want right here. My character's doing the thing. I can catch my prayers. I can eat my food. I can shoot the boss. I can do whatever, right? So in the orb phase, what you're going to want to do is, in your brain, already know your movement pathing. Know which diagonal you need to go to. Immediately put those 2 diagonal inputs, 1 diagonal input, whatever you have to do, and then control click just in the distance somewhere, just in a line. Just follow it, right? Now, when those things spawn, when the volatile earths spawn, he is guaranteed to do 3 attacks, and then he will scream and get ready to slap the ground, and you don't want to get slapped because that's bad. Stay in the orb to not get slapped. He will do 3 attacks. One of them will always be a boulder. It doesn't matter which one, but one of them will be a boulder, so you have to be prepared to boulder flick if you are doing orb phase, right? Just be ready to orb flick. That's the biggest thing. And that's probably what's going to get you killed on 8, because if you have to do the double orb flick while you're, if you have to do the double boulder flick while you're walking an orb, while grubs are going into him, it's just a mess, and it's a lot, and I know it is. It's tough. So what I'm going to recommend you do is prioritize your boulder flick, then prioritize getting into the orb, then prioritize the grubs. If you let grubs go inside of Doom, it's completely fine. He'll heal a little bit and deal a little bit of damage to you. This will stack from caves 1 through 8. It'll keep stacking as far as you go. However many grubs you let in, that damage and that healing will stack. So you really want to get rid of them as soon as possible. Okay? This is long-winded. Thank you for staying with me. If you made it this far, I'm here, okay? We're here. We're gonna get you that kill, okay? We're gonna get you to wave 8. You're gonna get in there. You're gonna do it. The shield phase will trigger at 75% HP. You can hit him beyond this point, and shield phase could trigger, much like Yama does if you've done Yama. Sometimes you'll get him to phase at like 58% instead of 66, right? And you're like, well, what the hell? Same thing can happen at Doom, because they are coded to do a set amount of attacks or to send an attack. Like, say your projectile had just landed as its attack animation is going, it won't always immediately go into shield phase. So you sometimes can get an extra shot and put it to like 70%, and then it will go into shield phase. So anywhere from 75% or below, be prepared for shield phase. Now, let me talk about milking shield phase. This is going to be critical in a budget setup for wave 8. 6 and 7, not going to matter that much. Definitely going to be critical for wave 8. So I'm going to put a clip up here of me milking the shield phase. Effectively, the idea is to get about 15 grub kills before you end that shield phase. Because what's going to happen is when shield phase ends, Doom will take damage based on the number of grubs that you have killed before the phase ended. So if you get about 15, you'll get another guaranteed 50 damage on Doom when car phase begins or when shield phase ends. So that's really, really important to maybe get that orb phase skip at the end. You know, Doom might pop up with like 70 HP, and sometimes you'll be able to do that last little bit before you need to trigger the orb. So make sure you're milking on number 8. And for waves 6 to 8, I'm going to now input the tile explanation. You don't really need any tiles from 1 through 5, and 6 through 8, you're going to want to use these tiles. And if you want the full tile set and full tile explanation, go to Muffyn's video. Their link is in the description. But here's that. I'm going to let that go, and then I'm going to keep talking. Okay. What is going on, everybody? I don't know where I'm going to put this in the guide. I'm probably going to put it second, but I wanted to explain the 6+ tiles. So from 6 through 8 and onwards, so anywhere past 8 that you get to, I recommend using these tiles. These are, of course, courtesy of Muffyn. Their channel will be in the description. Their video will be in the description. But I wanted to give you like the quick lowdown of what these tiles are. And if you want the really advanced explanation of what the tiles are, go check out Muffyn's video 100%. They explain things really well, and they're the only reason that I'm getting 8+ completions really consistently myself. So they definitely work. I know this looks like a lot, but it's actually pretty simple, which is pretty good for us. Basically, all you're going to want to do is when you spawn in on 6+, you're just going to run over to this rock tile. By the time you get to like one run tick before you get to the rock tile, you're going to be able to pop a shot at Mocha. You can go ahead and do that so you're not missing ticks. So as you're running over, like say you spawn in like over here, I don't know how many ticks it is really that it takes for Mocha to spawn, but as you're running, right when you get there, shoot him and then go to the rock tile. And effectively what you're doing, 6 and 7 are pretty much guaranteed. You'll get the one rock and you just move out of the way, or you do a melee punish, whatever you need to do. And just make sure the rock explodes onto this tile, and then you're going to be using that to eat the first car slam pretty much every time. 6 and 7 can get a little weird because if you do too much damage, you're not going to get a rock over here. This is where we want to place one of our second rocks, if at all possible. It is up to you if you want to stall to get another rock on one of these tiles, but it's not completely necessary. I really think just having this one at the ready is enough, because then you stand on the first pull tile and pull him over here, and then he'll slam this rock and you'll be good to go. And then you can just sort of call an audible from there. Just make sure you don't drag him over the rocks that you need to hide behind. You want to sort of like keep it regular. I think by default, like rule of thumb, if you are lost during car phase, just pull him to center and just hope that you can find a rock to hide behind. Because if he's in the center, you should be able to, like, within time, find a rock to hide behind if you need to call an audible, which is when you don't have a rock on either any of these white tiles or any of these pink tiles. And this is just mirrored on the north and the east side. So if this ends up getting, you see how like this north side is like a bunch of acid, and of course our rock tile is acided over here on the north side. We start on the east side just because it's the closest, and we don't want to miss ticks running to the north side. So if this ends up happening to your east side, you can just run over to the other one, and this will be your next start tile if you're deep delving. Usually this doesn't come up if you're just going to do some 1 through 8 clears and reset, but the further you go, obviously, the more you need to manage the acid. I don't really bother with managing acid. It's just too much of a headache for me. It's not very enjoyable, so I just go until my floor is too much acid, and then I continue on with my life. I reset. So, really quick bullet points. You're putting a rock here. You're putting a rock on any of these whites or any of these pinks, because what these tiles do is when you need to melee punish, especially on 8, especially on 8, you don't need to do this on 6 and 7, but especially on 8, right before that rock explodes, put your Chally on, put Spec on, run over to this tile, and then just click the boss. If you run to any of these white tiles, when you click the boss, you're going to end up on this white tile. So any of these are going to put you on this white tile, right? Because it's one diagonal, or it's one tile away, regardless of where you stand. Same thing with the pink. These are your backup tiles. If you end up needing to go to pink, it's the same thing. You'll still hit the boss from these tiles. And this is just to give you options if acid is on the floor, or maybe there's like, I have no idea. I don't. It's going to be acid on the floor. Is basically the only thing. If any of these tiles are ragged, you can just use the other one. And of course, if you place a rock on any of them, you do your melee punish, and then you still have to do more damage because your bow is like not doing it for you. Then you are more than welcome to put another rock down. So say on 8, right? We know the boulder's about to explode, so we book it over to this tile. 1, 2, 3, click boss, right? And then we'll end up over here, because that's where this tile will pull us. So we'll have a rock here and a rock here, but we didn't do enough damage still, and he throws another set of boulders. So all we have to do from there is stand, it's just like anywhere. It doesn't really matter, but if you want to, as a failsafe, put another rock over here, you can. Alternatively, you can just come over here somewhere and try and give yourself one for when you pull him on 3 tiles. So when you pull him this way to this corner, you can put one over here if you want to try and hide behind for when you pull him over yonder. But these tiles are really, really nice. Super big fan to just... This is the big one, right? If nothing else, get this one down, and you can audible from there if you really need to. This is the most important one. On 8, it's really important to get this one down, run over here, try to get the second one on any of these 6 tiles. It doesn't matter where you run, as far as on these 4. This Tetris tile, right? Run anywhere to this Tetris tile, click the boss, and it'll set you up for when you pull it the second time. He'll come over here, and then you get to pre-hide behind that rock that you put down. And that should be in the budget kill that I just did. That's why I'm down here, because I just did Delve 8. So in the budget kill, I do believe I did get it off. I honestly can't remember. I just did it, and I can't remember. If I didn't, I'll go back in, and I'll get you an example and put it up right here. But you'll have 2 rocks, so you'll have 2 guaranteed pulls where you're not worrying about anything. And then usually, you can pull him on this 3rd tile. He'll start going over here. He'll start going this way. And you can go to any of these purple tiles to pull him over to this corner. And if you manage to get all the way over to this set of purple tiles, then you will have dragged him the longest duration possible, so you get the most DPS possible. And when you're using a scobo, this is actually super nice if you can pull him all the way over here, especially if you run out of pipe, but your DPS is just going to be inherently slower. Pipe is really close to T-bow in the 100% accuracy car phase, but it's not quite there. And you can't always, like, if you have to pull an audible and you can't stay in range with your pipe and you have to switch to scobo, like say I pulled the boss over there, I can't pipe from here and hide behind this rock, right? So I have to scobo. It really helps to just eke out as much damage as you can, and that's why I recommend milking if you can, especially on 8. You don't really have to do it on 6 and 7. That's like completely up to you, because the orb phase isn't as bad on 6 and 7 because you don't have to do the double triple flick, but on 8 you really want to try and milk that shield phase if you're in a budget setup, because your DPS could be so low that you end up in a really bad state after the car phase, and you really want to try to push so you don't have to deal with orb phase. But even if you do have to deal with it, you can deal with it. You just have to, set up yourself as best you can with the orb. I think that's everything about this tile. So, like, really quick, not explaining too much again for what you're supposed to do with these tiles. Start on rock. Let rock explode on rock tile on 6 and 7. If on 8, let rock explode on rock tile. 1 tick before it explodes, click any of the furthest away white or pink tile. Click any of these, and then click the boss, and you will automatically get dragged here, and then you can do your triple flick, right? So you're doing your triple flick here or here. If you get hit by shrapnel, don't worry about it, it's fine. You really want to get those prayers right. If you don't get your prayers right, you're going to explode, okay? So after you do that setup, you're good to go. He goes into shield phase, blah, blah, blah. You do that. You get a shield phase down, you milked it, you get your 50 damage. You're running to 1 tile. You can blow pipe from here. You can start piping him from here. You are within range. So you can pipe him all the way through here. And then once he's here, just whenever you want, make sure you pipe as you run. But when you get to 2, you have to switch to scobo. You can go pipe, move, and then you have to switch to scobo here, right? You'll see me do that in my example kill. Then when he pulls up, you can go pipe, pipe, pipe. You can move to 3, pipe, pipe, move to 3. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It'll be close if you can pipe him here. I don't know if you can, but you want to make sure you pull him and not pipe him. Alternatively, after you do 2 pull, you can just say, I'm switching to Scobo because I want to try and book it over here. If you think you can make it here, cool. Like anywhere behind this works, right? So if you drew a line between these 3, anywhere behind this works. If you just want to start Scoboing, you can, and then, you know, hide behind this rock, keep Scoboing if you want to. And you can also use your Scobo specs. It's actually not too bad. It's 25%, and I believe it does keep up with T-Bow DPS, but of course you can only do that 4 times, and you'll have the burn, and you'll maybe have a Thrall going if you do my method. If you want to like deep delve, do not summon the Thrall when you are on Cave 8 and doing budget setups, because you're going to get so much acid everywhere that eventually you're just going to not be able to deep delve. But the reason I summon Thrall only in car phase on 6 to 8 is to try to avoid Orb Special at the end, especially in budget. Like, especially in budget. You need to squeak out as much damage as you can. That's why we also have those poison arrows. Hopefully that covered everything. Those are the tiles. They're just mirrored on both sides. So, you know, if we were over here, it's the same thing. Put your rock down, except you're going to go this way with it, so it's a little bit awkward. Definitely try and practice both sides if you can, if you do plan on deep delving. And it's the same thing. Go to your 1 tile, go to your 2 tile, go to your 3 tile. It's the same thing. It's just mirrored. So you only really have to worry about one side. My rule of thumb is when you start Mocha, just start running east, and you'll get used to just being around this tile, and that'll sort of be automatic for you. Hopefully I explained it well enough. Again, if you do need a full explanation, go to Muffyn's video. I have their link in the description, both their channel and their video specifically for this. Go check it out if you need it, and we'll get back to whatever I'm talking about in the video right now. Cool. See ya. Okay. Post-car phase. Let's talk post-car phase. Most of you will get through car phase pretty much no problem, I think. On wave 8, you might die to the triple flicks, but it's okay. Once you get that sort of muscle memory of doing that setup with the boulder into the white tile into attacking the boss, you should be making it through car phase. Post-car phase rule of thumb. Mocha will always do 3 attacks and then start sending that shockwave, right? So what you can do is make sure everything is clear. If grubs spawn after car phase, get rid of those. Get rid of those really fast. You do have time. Respond to the prayers. You can miss some DPS here. It's totally fine, because if you die, you lose all your DPS, right? Take care of the grubs. Respond to any prayers. If he throws boulders at you, respond to the boulders. Send your destination shot for the orb as soon as you possibly can. And by Mocha's 3rd attack, like when he does the animation for his 3rd attack, whether it's a standard attack or the boulder, shoot your earth and get ready to start walking, right? Do those diagonal inputs and then control click to where you need to go, and then respond to the boulder, respond to the standard attack, whatever you need to do. And if you're comfortable, go ahead and get some shots on Mocha on your way over. Okay? I think I covered everything. Okay? So I'm going to run through this one more time before we get into the live kill, the live 1 through 8. One more time. This is a big video. I know it is. It's a fully extensive guide. I'm here so you know everything about this boss, okay? Quick bullet points. Standard attack. Range and mage for delve 1 and 2. Then he adds melee. Boulders. Identify the color, respond accordingly. 1 projectile on delve 1, 2 projectiles on delve 2 and 3, 3 projectiles on delve 4+. Delve 8 will send you back-to-back boulders. Acid spit. Don't worry about it. It's going to be random. Oh well. Shit on. Just try and path better. Grubs. Use the style that you need to kill them with Demon Bane. They're color-coded at 4+. Melee punish. Put your chally on. Spec. Click the boss. Boom. Damage. Cool. Step away. Shield phase. Milk it if you're at delve 8. Just send it if you're not. It doesn't really matter that much. Car phase starts at delve 5. 2 dashes at delve 5. 3 dashes at 6+. Utilize this phase as much as you can with your blowpipe. Don't be afraid to just camp Scobo if you need to and dump some Scobo specs. It's 25% and it does a decent amount of damage. Orb phase. Choose your destination tile as fast as you possibly can when car phase ends. Shoot your tile on the 3rd attack after the earth spawns. Okay? Shield phase triggers at 75% or lower. Post car, 3 attacks, then it's shockwave. Shoot your destination on that 3rd attack, hammering that home. Shoot your destination on Mocha's 3rd attack, okay? I think we're good. Let's get into the live kill. Okay, I'm going to commentate over this, I suppose. I'm going to try and get a little budget kill here in the Scobo setup. And I was supposed to bring drink a Divine Ranging Pod there, but here we are, it's fine. I suppose that really only matters if you're deep delving, which I assume, if you're watching this, you are not. There's a fly in my room. Stay away! You're supposed to spec there. Go away from my face, bro. Gosh. Leave me be. I'm gonna freak out, dude. I hate rocks! Oh! Like, they're just so stupid, you know? Like, you can't just tell them to go away. Because they don't understand. Okay. Live me is here now. I figured I would give you the little taste into what it's like to PDM as me. I have to battle with a grass gnat, a little grass fly. It wasn't an actual fly, it was just a gnat. But here we are, putting all of this guide together, doing Delve 1 and 2 and 3 and things, and melee punishing. There's not much to talk about on the early delves, so I'm kind of just going to let them run, but I didn't want to completely cut them out, because some people still might need some examples, but there really isn't too much that I'm doing that's fancy in these kills. I do remember, as I was editing, because I'm recording this after editing the initial part, I failed to mention that most of the time when Mocha throws a boulder, you're going to have to melee punish, so just be ready to put your Chally on and slap him in the face. But that's I think that's like the only big thing that I missed, other than maybe like manual pathing is kind of your friend in this fight, and if you can manage to get the melee punish at the end of the phase, you can get a little bit of healing and prayer back. But other than that, the asset has begun. We're already on Delve 3. It doesn't take too long to make it to the hard stuff, in quotes. So Delve 3 just adds... I don't think it adds anything, actually. It adds shield phase, I think? I think Delve 3 adds shield phase. Yeah, here we go. So anywhere below 75%, he'll go into shield phase, and then for anything below 8, I'm kind of just, I'm going for it, because milking this part doesn't really matter, because you can just hop out and start shooting. You don't really need to worry about anything. There's not a car phase after this, or anything like that. So just go ahead and take these out. Do it as you please, as you see fit. And you notice me step back there, it's because I know I can just shoot my Scobo to get him completely out of shield phase, and I don't want to tank a melee hit, because he has a tendency, for some reason, to do an animation-free instant melee hit when he gets out of shield phase or when you punish him. So having a Chally is nice because you get to stay a tile away sometimes, but if you just run at the boss from like any tile, sometimes you'll go into melee range. Just be ready to step back after you Chally. Just kind of make it a habit after you melee punish to just step back. Boulders are going. The Orb Phase is here. Alright, so what do? We go Destination Tile. Try to make it a straight line if you can. I take out a larva, get the prayer, and I'm like, okay, that was the third attack. He just did his animation for the third attack boulder right there. So I just did this, sent my control walk, respond to the prayers. That's kind of all you do for Orb Phase. There's nothing else I can do to make it easier for you. It's just execute from that point. You know, make your path, make it as long as you want, but for the earlier delves, you can make it short. You don't have to feel like too pressured to make a super, super long path. If you see a nice straight line that's like 6 tiles, it'll cover you until like Delve 5, probably, if you time it right with that timing that I give you. When you see his third attack animation begin is when you want to send your projectile, right? Because you have to remember that there's a travel time on arrows, so if you're shooting it, then you need to do the attack as he starts his animation, and it should line up pretty good doing it that way. Otherwise, you can just walk up and melee the orb thing, and it'll spawn like a hair faster, but not too much. There is still a delay once the earth falls and when the orb spawns, which is kind of annoying. More shield phase. You can see the color-coded grubs. That's with that demonic larva plugin, I believe, that I showed in the guide. Also, shout out if you made it this far. Like, you're an absolute legend. If you watched this the whole way through and you didn't use my timestamps, I'm gonna kiss you on the forehead. Mwah! Welcome Thank you for listening to me talk aimlessly for an hour, by the way. Stepped into shrapnel right there. Do you know what I didn't do? Panic, because whatever, it's shrapnel, bro. In situations like this, if you really, really wanted your 99 HP, you could just, like, stall out for a melee punish at the end of the phase, which I might do here. I don't remember, but anyway. I was thinking about it, I was like, alright, destination tile here, we got like 6 tiles between these, I'll just go over here because we're early delve. And then third attack, you see that mage is coming in, that's his third attack. And the lineup is pretty good, man. I think it's a good tip. So here we go, we're gonna get a little bit of healing, a little bit of prayer back from our mess up there. So don't worry about eating shrapnel, you can do that at the end. Completely fine. Here's delve 5, so car phase is going to begin. But everything is still pretty much the same other than car phase is here now. I'm going to go reset my Coam Bams. I got a giant squirrel the other day, by the way. Melee punish. I'm trying to get the hair in before 99. I don't know if it's going to happen. We'll see. More shield phase. Thoughts on shield phase. Sucks. I hate shield phase. It's very annoying. But if you are taking damage during the fight, you can use this time to heal up. So while you're milking a shield, say I shoot these 2 range grubs, right? If I needed to heal, get rid of as many grubs as you can on your screen and just heal in between. It's actually pretty good to just pause and heal there if you need to. So we pull him over here, we're keeping him blowpipe range. I'm like, alright, let me go stand over here, and he'll just go all the way into the corner. I'll get out of the way. Blowpipe's doing pretty good. And this is on two drive-bys. So you can imagine with a third drive-by, if you manage to keep your blowpipe on the whole time, it's actually pretty good. You can get some pretty good damage in there and not have to deal with the orbs. But in a budget setup, I mean, you're just going to have to deal with orbs, man. This one was a little early, actually. Yeah, do you see his third attack just hit me and my orb is already over? So that one was really early. But luckily, it's not that much damage. I don't remember if I heal here or not, because I'm going into 6, I believe. And you can see me debating it. I'm like, could I get a melee punish at the end? And then I was like, yeah, we'll try and get a melee punish at the end. You don't have to do this. Use your brews. It's totally fine. Like, that's what the supplies are there for. Don't feel like you can't use them, right? So get rid of these grubs. See them, delete them. That's the rule. Here comes the rock. Here comes the melee punish. So I'm going to wait for the rock to explode, and then I'm going to run up and bop. And another cool thing about that rock tile is as you run up, you will never go into melee range. Like one tile adjacent melee range. You'll always stay at halberd range, which is really cool with the rock and those white and pink tiles. That's why they're super, super nice. So in Delve 6, I'm just kind of willy-nilly killing. I'm like doing a little bit of extra stalling. Maybe I let some of the melees come forward. Maybe I don't. Like, you know, whatever. Just as long as he doesn't charge up that yellow bar, you're kind of good to go. Call it how you see it. Do whatever you want. If you want to milk, cool. If you don't want to milk, cool. Just remember that if you don't milk, you are going to, like, 100% get an orb phase at the end of 6, 7, and 8. So be prepared to deal with them. But I do recommend you practice. Because you're going to have to deal with it. Especially if you want to start deep delving. You inevitably are going to have to deal with the orb phases. And you want to be able to manage them to the best of your ability. And I think I get one on Delve 8 in this run. I can't remember if that was the T-Bow run or the Scobo run, but we are, of course, looking at the Scobo run. If you would like me to upload my 1 to 8 T-Bow run, it's like nothing special, but if you just want another example, I can do that, just like raw footage of my 8 run on the T-Bow. Nothing is really different. The DPS is just a little bit higher. So here we go. First pull, bada bing, bada boom. And we actually got lucky. We got the RNG rock over there on that white tile, which is perfect. And you'll notice that I'm just staying in Scobo. I'm not even going to pipe here. Like, look at how respectable the damage is. I could have been specking this whole time with the Scobo as well. I pull him back mid, even though I didn't really need to. I was like, whatever. I'll just go keep Scoboing from over here. And look at that. He's, like, dead. Because I milked, I got that extra 50. I summon my Thrall, so I'm doing a little bit of extra DPS as he's traveling. My Scobo went off, and I didn't even use specs. If you want to, you can bring Dragon Knives and unload those during car phase. But you can also keep it really simple. Keep the Scobo on, spec with the Scobo, spec with your blowpipe, you know, kind of whatever. Dragon Knives are really good, I won't lie. But they're even better with a buckler, and I hate having to bring a buckler with me to make them feel like super good. Don't ask me why I ran over to the white tile, by the way. I was on, for some reason in my head, I was on cave 8 already, but this is cave 7. But it's good to build the habit, you know? Maybe you should go ahead and do that. Just run over to those tiles so you kind of get the feeling for what you need to be doing in the Delve 8. So Delve 7, we're going to be doing a little bit more milking, it looks like. Because our Delve 6 was so clean, why not make our Delve 7 so clean, you know? Go ahead and get that extra 50 damage. I don't know the exact number of grubs that it takes to get your total damage up to 50, but, like, I'm going with about 15 in my head. I'm not even really counting it, it's just like a feeling thing, you know? Isn't that just kind of all what RuneScape is? It's a feeling, bro. It's a mouthfeel. I'm sure there is an exact number, and if anybody knows it, go ahead and put it in the comments, and I will pin it, the amount of grubs that you need to kill to get that 50 damage. Would be nice to know the exact, because I might be overshooting it, and if I'm wasting more time in the car phase than I need to be, you know, why do that if I don't need to, right? Looks like we're sending. All right, we're sending. Here we go. Except for that melee. Fuck that melee in particular, I guess. I think the reason I did that is because I knew it would take too long for that melee to approach the shield, and it might end up getting absorbed during car phase, and I didn't want that to happen. So, something to think about for sure. So here's an interesting situation. On our second pull, we don't have this rock, right? So we actually need to go all the way over here to this rock, which was just naturally spawned. And then we can still pull him on our 3 tick. We didn't quite make it. 1, 2, 3. Maybe we did. And we're still good. So even without the influenced rock, we were still able to handle our own. So I pick an earth in the distance. I hit my flick. There's attack number 2, and there's attack number 3. I'm shooting, right? Attack number 3 went off. I'm shooting. That's really all it comes down to manage the orb phase when you're in these later delves. When you see that third attack, regardless of what it is, you're sending your shot. I think another way some people are doing it is when you hear the scream, send your shot. And I mean, like, the instant you hear that scream, you can send your shot. But I like when third attack is coming, you send your shot. Delve 8, no melee punish, kind of awkward. But we still run on the same timing and manually path up to that white tile. We take a shrapnel, but we don't care. We make sure we hit our flicks, because that's all that matters. We're at 82%, we get another boulder here. I go in ahead and attack this magic grub. If you step onto a shadow of the first boulder, then you will not get hit by shrapnel from the second boulder. It's sort of like the Toa lightning in 4th row. 4th row? Last row. I don't know why I said 4th. I think it's like 6th, but Toa last row. So again, if you see the shadow from the first boulder, when it lands, when the shrapnel lands, you can then step into one of those tiles and do your flick, and you will be perfectly timed and not get hit by shrapnel. The problem is if you have to do a melee punish on 8, you have to equip Chally, click spec, wait for 1 tick before that rock to explode, click over to the white tile. When you get to the white tile, click the boss, right? Then you do your flick from those tiles instead, and it sort of just manages that for you on a pretty good timing. So that only matters if you, the thing that I was saying before only matters if you have to do a manual pathing for your double orb flicks. Step into the shadow of the first one, and you'll be good to go. So here's our big milk for Delve 8, our final delve. Made it there in pretty good time. I think it was like 12 or 13 minute run, something like that. I ended up tanking a bunch of grub and poison damage, and I got mad, and then I was like, man, I hate this shit. And then I stepped into poison again. I'm like, man, I hate this shit. But I'm just letting the grubs approach, and I'm doing what I do. Let the grub go past you before you click it, and then you're good to go. You don't step in acid. All right, run over to one tile. I actually mistimed this. For some reason, I thought I was going to kill Mocha, and I just didn't. Wasn't really paying attention. So if this happens to you, this is a good example of things going wrong and you still end up doing fine. Because I catch both of those mages. He heals a little bit, but it's fine because I didn't let grubs go in earlier. So we go to our pull. We have our second pull tile, or our second pull rocks completely covered. I switch off of the blowpipe when I get to 2 because I just didn't want to accidentally be out of range or LOS or whatever. I didn't even want to risk it. And then right here, I accidentally pulled him to the middle because my pathing was bad. But it doesn't matter because I have so many rocks over here. So it's fine. You can you really just need that first pull. And then after that, you could sort of play it by ear. But the second pull is nice. So here we go. Double. I tried to step into a shadow. I missed it a little bit. I see that third attack. And I'm already sending my orb. I know my path is pretty long. I should be good to go. I think I timed it a little bit poorly here. It was sort of at the end, but I end up killing the boss before he does the last slam, which would have done a little bit of damage to me. But I'm completely healthy and it's totally fine. So that's the full Delve 8 live kill. I hope you can get yours done. Again, check out Muffyn's tile guide if you need to. You can do this 100%. You're just going to have to get in there. You're going to have to get your shit rocked sometimes. It is what it is. That's how you learn in this game. Best of luck. Look at those supplies. We're still totally good to go. We could do another one if we wanted to, but we're not going to because we just wanted our Delve 8 completion, just like you're going to go get right now. Okay, Beast? I'll see you in the next guide.